Breaking news, as NBC News is learning, President Trump is considering deploying up to 1,000 National Guard troops to Washington, D.C., and could make the announcement as early as tomorrow. That's according to one defense official and two U.S. officials. This is part of Trump's effort to increase security in the nation's capital, claiming there is rampant crime in the area, even though recent statistics show crime has actually gone down significantly. The number of troops who would be assigned is still in flux, the officials say, and most of the troops would likely be pulled from the D.C. National Guard. We'll have to leave it there. But
we should point out that this is a very large troop deployment for Washington, D.C. This is going to be about one soldier for about every 700 residents in L.A., which is way bigger. I think it's about 7 times larger than Washington, D.C. in terms of, the mass of L.A. as a city. There were around 4,700 troops. And so this is actually more proportionally to the size and the scope of DC's population than for Los Angeles. So I do think this will really be felt on the streets of DC, and it will be noticeable, a noticeable militarized presence.
How concerned are you?
To that point, how do you not call this a siege, a federal siege of DC? And I know that may sound extreme, but you're talking about a very limited square footage and an enormous number of troops going into this space. There is a false narrative that is being used to justify this around crime numbers that he has not supported, that are not there, that the mayor of that city, Muriel Bowser, has gotten to go in the right direction. No one asked for this. And when you're talking about the presence of law enforcement and the National Guard in this city to make people feel safe, I don't know anyone who feels safer with 1,000 more armed National Guardsmen in their city. That does not engender safety, particularly when the narrative that you're using around this is not based in fact.
Well, with an unclear mission, because the mission that he has stated is not a mission. There isn't widespread anarchy on the streets of D.C. like Donald Trump is painting the picture.
Well, yeah, I mean, we talked about this with Basil Smikle earlier this evening, but the specific stats are violent crime is down 26% so far just this year as compared to 2024. That is significant. I mean, most people would be celebrating a city, pointing to that as a moment for reflection to talk about the things that may be working. But instead, the nation's capital is going to be rewarded with this. It's also a city, we talked about the fact, large Black community, historic Black community there, what it's going to mean for communities of color when this kind of siege, as you just mentioned, happens. We're going to have to leave it there, but we are going to be right back after this break.